Northern California, late 1960s, a time of peace, love, and revolution. The air was thick with the scent of freedom, and the streets pulsed with the energy of a generation determined to change the world. Young people gathered in parks, music filled the air, and hope seemed to shine as brightly as the California sun. But beneath the sunshine, a shadow crept in. It slithered quietly through the neighborhoods, unseen but deeply felt, unsettling the peace that so many had come to cherish. Whispers turned to headlines. A killer was out there, rumors spread like wildfire, and every new report sent a chill through the community. He struck in the dark, targeting young people in secluded places. Lovers' lanes, once symbols of innocence and romance, became grounds for terror. No name, no face, just a phantom, a riddle. He seemed to vanish as quickly as he appeared, leaving only fear in his wake. He wanted everyone to know he was watching. His presence was felt in every creak of the floorboard, every shadow that flickered past a window. Fear settled over towns like fog, thick and suffocating. People peered out from behind curtains, wondering if the next victim would be someone they knew. Doors locked, lovers' lanes emptied. The routines of daily life changed as caution replaced carefree nights. He stole not just lives, but innocence. The sense of safety that once defined these communities was shattered, replaced by suspicion and dread. The question wasn't if he'd strike again, but when. Every tick of the clock was a reminder that danger still lurked in the darkness. He called himself the Zodiac, a name of stars, but his design was chaos. He wanted to be known, to be feared, to be remembered. He sent taunting letters, filled with cryptic symbols and chilling details. Each message was a puzzle, a challenge to the police and the public alike. The entire state became his audience, trapped in a horror show. Families huddled around televisions, desperate for answers that never came. Theories swirled, but answers never came. Detectives worked tirelessly, piecing together clues that always seemed just out of reach. He was everywhere and nowhere, a ghost in plain sight. The Zodiac could be anyone, and that uncertainty haunted everyone. The shadow he cast was one of fear and mystery. His legend grew with every unanswered question, every unsolved crime. Decades later, the question remains, who was the Zodiac? The case files have faded, but the mystery endures. His story is a question mark in American crime. The Zodiac's identity is still a riddle, taunting investigators and the public alike. The fear he created still lingers. Even now, people remember to lock their doors, to look over their shoulders at night. The Zodiac's legend endures, unsolved, and haunting. His crimes have become a dark chapter in California's history, a story that refuses to fade. The shadow has never truly lifted. The mystery of the Zodiac remains, a chilling reminder that some nightmares never end. The Zodiac's reign of terror began in December 1968, casting a long shadow over Northern California. On a cold, quiet night, two teenagers, David Faraday and Betty Lou Jensen, were shot without warning on a lonely road outside Vallejo. There was no robbery, no sign of struggle, and no clear motive, just a brutal execution that left investigators stunned and the community shaken. Police were baffled, unable to piece together any clues, but this was only the beginning of a chilling spree. 7 months later, the nightmare returned. Another young couple, Darlene Farine and Michael Majot, was attacked in a parked car in Vallejo. Darlene was killed instantly. Michael, though gravely wounded, survived and became the first to describe the mysterious attacker to police. In a chilling twist, the killer himself called the police, calmly claiming responsibility for the murders, taunting authorities with his confidence. A disturbing pattern emerged. Young couples targeted in secluded spots, ambushed without warning, the violence sudden and senseless. In September 1969, the killer escalated his methods. At Lake Berryessa, he confronted Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard, this time wearing a bizarre hooded costume marked with a cryptic symbol. He tied them up on the grass, then stabbed them repeatedly. Cecilia died from her wounds. Brian survived, haunted by the memory. Just weeks later, in October 1969, the killer struck again, this time in the heart of San Francisco. Cab driver Paul Stein was shot in his taxi, the city's sense of safety shattered. The killer took a grisly trophy, a piece of Stein's bloodstained shirt, sending it to newspapers as proof of his deed. The Zodiac was growing bolder, striking anywhere, anytime, and showing no fear of being caught. The city was on edge. Headlines screamed of a serial killer on the loose. The Zodiac was no longer just a local menace. He was a national nightmare. His attacks were unpredictable, his motives a mystery. He taunted police and the public with cryptic letters and ciphers, daring them to catch him. Each crime left behind shattered families, fear, and confusion, a trail of victims and unanswered questions. The Zodiac's reign was swift, brutal, and chillingly random, leaving entire communities paralyzed with dread. With every new attack, the mystery deepened. The killer seemed to vanish into the night, leaving only fear behind. The police, despite their efforts, were always a step behind, chasing shadows and dead ends. The Zodiac's pattern was terror itself, unpredictable, relentless, and impossible to ignore. California was gripped by fear, its people haunted by the thought that the killer could strike again at any moment. The nightmare had only just begun, and the Zodiac's shadow would linger for years to come. The Zodiac didn't just kill, he craved attention. He wanted the world to know his name, to fear him, and to puzzle over his twisted mind. For him, murder was only the beginning. The real thrill was in the aftermath, in the chaos he could create from the shadows. In August 1969, he sent letters to newspapers, revealing details only the killer could know. These weren't just confessions, they were challenges, daring the public and police to keep up with his deadly game. Each letter contained part of a cryptogram, a coded message that seemed to taunt anyone who tried to solve it. The Zodiac relished the idea that his secrets were hidden in plain sight, just out of reach. He demanded publication, threatening more violence if ignored. The newspapers faced a terrible choice: print his words and risk panic, or refuse and risk more bloodshed. The public and police were challenged to solve his puzzle. Amateur sleuths, cryptographers, and everyday citizens all tried their hand, desperate to crack the code before the killer struck again. A week later, a teacher and his wife cracked the code. Their living room became a war room, littered with papers and symbols, as they pieced together the Zodiac's twisted message. The message was chilling. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It was a confession, a boast, and a threat all at once, revealing a mind that found joy in terror. He claimed to collect slaves for the afterlife. The Zodiac's words hinted at a bizarre, personal mythology, making his motives even more mysterious and frightening. The cipher revealed no name, only more questions. Each answer led to new mysteries, deepening the sense of dread and fascination. The Zodiac's letters became his weapon: taunts, threats, and ciphers. He used words as skillfully as he used a gun, keeping the city on edge. He signed with his crossed circle symbol, mocking police and media. Each letter was a signature of terror, a reminder that he was always watching. He sent a piece of Paul Stein's shirt to prove his identity. It was a gruesome trophy, a chilling confirmation that the Zodiac was not bluffing. He threatened schoolchildren, sent more baffling ciphers, and even called into live TV. His reach extended beyond the written word, invading homes through television screens. The investigation became a public spectacle. Crowds gathered, rumors spread, and the Zodiac's legend grew with every headline. No killer had ever engaged the media so directly. The Zodiac turned the press into his stage, and the world into his audience. The Zodiac used fear as his stage, performing for a terrified world. Every letter was a new act in his ongoing drama of dread. His letters spread panic far beyond his crimes. People locked their doors, watched the news, and wondered if they might be next. He was a terrorist with a pen, not just a gun. His words wounded the city, leaving scars that would last for decades. The taunting game made him infamous. The Zodiac became a household name, a symbol of fear and mystery. The world watched, helpless, as he played. His crimes and ciphers crossed borders, haunting people far from California. The Zodiac's words were as deadly as his bullets. His legacy was written in fear, and his taunting game would never be forgotten. The hunt for the Zodiac was massive and maddening. Multiple police departments chased a ghost who left few clues. He was careful, always a step ahead. Detectives followed thousands of leads, but most went nowhere. Witness descriptions were vague. Evidence was scant. After Paul Stein's murder, Police even let the killer walk away due to a dispatcher's error. The Zodiac mocked them for it in his letters. Investigators like Dave Toschi became obsessed, dedicating years to the case. Every promising lead dissolved into dead ends. The Zodiac was a shadow, always out of reach. The investigation became a puzzle with missing pieces. The closer police got, the further he slipped away. The hunt consumed careers, but the killer remained free. The Zodiac was a phantom, never caught. How did the Zodiac evade capture? He exploited the era's weaknesses. Police didn't share information well. By striking in different jurisdictions, he sowed confusion. He left little usable evidence, and forensic science was primitive. No DNA, no surveillance cameras, no cell phone tracking. The Zodiac was a killer in an analog world. His victims had no clear connection, making him unpredictable. He blended in, just an ordinary man, unremarkable in appearance. Witnesses described a heavy-set guy in glasses. He could be anyone. His normality was his best disguise. He committed violence, then vanished into the crowd. The Zodiac was a ghost because he looked like everyone else. That was his greatest trick. The Zodiac case attracted many suspects, but Arthur Lee Allen stood out. Allen matched several details. He owned similar ammo, wore the right shoe size, and was reported by a friend. Investigators searched his home, interviewed him repeatedly, and found circumstantial evidence. Some believed he was the Zodiac, but the case against him fell apart. His fingerprints and handwriting didn't match. He passed a polygraph, and later, DNA from Zodiac letters didn't match him. Allen died in 1992, never charged. He remains the most famous suspect, but proof was lacking. The case was a web of maybes and what-ifs. Police were close, but never close enough. The Zodiac's identity stayed hidden. The mystery only deepened. The ghost remained at large. After 1974, the Zodiac's letters stopped. The killer who craved attention simply vanished. The silence was as chilling as his crimes. Did he die, go to prison, or just fade away? The Zodiac became a legend. Books, movies, endless theories. Amateur sleuths and internet detectives kept the case alive. His final cipher was cracked in 2020, revealing more taunts. The lack of resolution haunts us. No justice, no closure, just silence. The Zodiac became a symbol of the perfect unsolved crime. His legend endures, feeding fascination and frustration. The silence is his final, haunting act. Why did the Zodiac go silent? Maybe he died, taking his secrets to the grave. Perhaps he was jailed for another crime, lost in the system. Some think he's simply tired of the game, feeling he'd won. Or maybe he feared capture after a close call. The risk outweighed the thrill. So he disappeared. In the end, his vanishing act was his greatest escape. The Zodiac left only questions behind. His silence is as mysterious as his crimes. The world is left to wonder. The final act, disappearance. The Zodiac changed how America saw safety and crime. He brought fear home, showing evil could strike anywhere. His crimes and media games created the template for the celebrity killer. The case exposed flaws in police work and forensics. It became a benchmark for cold cases and a symbol of unsolved mysteries. The Zodiac's greatest legacy is the question mark he left behind. No answers, no justice, just unease. He cracked the foundation of our sense of security. The fear he inspired lingers. The Zodiac remains a ghost in our memory. Sometimes, evil gets away.